You all set to go?
All set to go.
Well, here we are on the Making Waves podcast, and what an exciting day it is right here at DevSec Atlantic, and there's a real buzz in the air, there's energy here. People are excited to be out and about, interacting with one another, and they're all in conversation. They want to see this industry grow and thrive. We often say a rising tide floats all boats, and that's certainly what's happening in the ecosystem right now. And you're a big part of it, Melanie, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Great, well thank you for that intro. So my background goes back to living along the St. Lawrence. I grew up in a town called Port Cartier in northern Quebec, for those who may be familiar with that. So it's along the St. Lawrence, got a deep water port, very much a resource-based town, of course. And when I was 16, turning 17, I decided to join the Royal Canadian Navy. So my experience with the ocean started a long time ago, 25 years ago. And I sailed on the Kingston-class ships on the east and west coasts, had a lot of opportunities there, and I moved on from there. I left the Navy and decided to go to university. And I went and did an engineering degree, and then my career just kind of morphed over time, doing a lot of technical stuff. About 20 years ago, I was involved in hybrid electric vehicles, if you can imagine.
20 years ago?
20 years ago, I was working with auto manufacturers and looking at different tech that were going to go into vehicles to reduce emissions. And that morphed over the years into a lot of different jobs and whatnot. And in 2011, I moved to Nova Scotia from Ontario.
Okay.
Had you been in Nova Scotia with the Navy, or were you on the West Coast primarily?
I was primarily on the West Coast in Esquimalt, but I would come here for training. And in fact, I was on a crew that sailed a new vessel from Halifax to BC, to Esquimalt, to base. So
which ship was that?
It was that was the HMCS Yellowknife.
Wow.
It was MCDV, yeah, a brand new ship.
What did you do in the Navy, Melanie?
I was a naval communicator.
Oh, right on.
So I did ship to land, ship to shore, ship to ship communications, maneuvering of ships, that sort of thing.
My son, 17 years old, is a naval communicator.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, this already. I'm enjoying this conversation.
I think that's probably the profession has changed a lot over the years, but we didn't have computers in the same way that we do now.
You were probably using semaphore flags.
We were using semaphore
and flashing
Morse
light.
Code. Yeah, absolutely, from ship to ship.
Tom will never see that, I don't think. Or
I still remember my Morse code.
Do you really?
Oh yeah. It's something that sticks with you for. It's mesmerizing your mind.
So, Melanie, you find yourself in Nova Scotia. Where does the journey go then?
Well, I came to Nova Scotia and I joined a company called Emera. And Emera brought me over. They're an energy company.
Yeah.
And they brought me over from Ontario. And interestingly, I was involved in the business development side. And my first job with them was to focus on how to invest in tidal energy.
Right.
Offshore renewable energy.
Yeah.
And that sort of morphed over time. I was in business development doing different types of investments and went into operations over and around, but I've always had this natural affinity or interest, curiosity around innovation, tech, combining that with business, so that's always been my my passion,
sweet spot.
I guess. My sweet spot.
Yeah.
Exactly. So and then I joined COVE just over a year ago.
So tell us a little bit about COVE, because there's exciting things happening over there.
Sure, yeah. So COVE is our mandate, or our focus really is high-tech innovation in the ocean.
Right.
And thinking about it in a sustainable way. So if you've heard about the blue economy, if you haven't, you're going to hear more and more. Global emphasis on the blue economy. So we're about bringing high-tech innovation to market. Very focused on commercialization, so getting products, services to market a lot quicker.
Right.
We have facilities located here in Dartmouth. So at our facilities, we have a working waterfront. We've got collaborative space. We've got a machine shop.
We were there, and I worked out of the Kraken office for about 4 hours. Your facility is phenomenal.
It really is.
It was foggy, there was foghorns, ships moving. Anyway, sorry, it was beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's great, yeah. It's great to be working right by the water, and it's industrial space too, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of innovation. So we have about 60 companies. We talked about one Kraken, but we've got 59 others that are also on site. So resident companies, and then we run different programs focused on workforce development. We also manage, develop offshore infrastructure and onshore. So we just launched a subsea sensor platform called the Stellamaris, which is really neat. We've got a lot of good material on that, but it's essentially a subsea platform to test, validate different types of sensor technologies, and starting to understand all the data that you can collect from the ocean. So our real, our other part of our bread and butter is looking at the ocean in a very digital, new way, and doing it in a way that's very collaborative. So the way that we work in COVE, even on that platform, we had about 30 companies that were involved in that.
Really?
So a lot of SMEs, some startups. So that's really kind of the new way of working, I think, for business is kind of more in a collaborative nature, and it's especially important when you talk about SMEs, right?
So just so I understand, COVE, do you eventually graduate? Are you like an incubator, or is it just a place that everyone stays and shares ideas? Is that more of the idea?
Well, we do have an incubator on site. So for our startups, it's called the COVE Startup Yard. So that's where the early stage companies, so our new startups, they have their business plans, they're doing some testing, they want customer exposure.
Right.
So we bring a lot of customers to site as well. So that's in our incubation space, but we've got SMEs, which is the bulk of our clientele, and then we've got our multinationals who are interested for very many different reasons, right? Like they'll come in, maybe they're looking for M&A opportunities, they're looking for new innovations, they're looking for some partnerships, they're looking for that energy that sometimes you don't get in a major corporation.
Yeah.
So
Do you pinch yourself that you found yourself there? It seems like you're so excited about what you're doing,
Well, I said I was passionate, but yeah, I'm very interested in the high-tech innovation, and so I moved to Atlantic Canada in the first instance to work with the ocean.
Right.
And now to find myself back, and it's just like, the world is aligning on this, on the necessity to better understand our ocean. With climate change, our ocean is the biggest carbon sink. We've got to use it in a more sustainable way, right? So there's a lot of opportunity there. It's over 20% of the world's food source, protein food source. Right. We've got to think about that as well, and so there's a lot of undiscovered opportunities, I think, in the ocean.
Melanie, you must go to work every day and you're surrounded by companies that are doing amazing things and involved in really interesting conversations and growing the economy around the ocean. You must see so many opportunities for people to be involved in this industry. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, that I do pinch myself because I learn a lot every day, and I'm a constant learner. So I have a hallway conversation with somebody that's inventing some of the coolest stuff that I can't talk about, but they are. That's pretty neat. Amongst the ecosystem, and then we also work individually with many of these companies in different ways. We've often been the broker of business, whether it's business finding
What a great thing.
or complementary ways that companies can bid in on something, or we know a company that's looking for some expansion opportunities or talent. We've been involved in a lot of those conversations, and I kind of see one of our biggest successes is now we're not in those conversations all the time, which means that the model is working. And it means, we'll see great wins of two companies that have bid in on something, have been successful, and we weren't in those conversations. We didn't know about it. So I kind of see that as a big success as well.
That's a great way to measure it, isn't it?
Yeah.
For sure. I got to tell you, this has been a great conversation in and around the amazing things that are happening at COVE, and it's so nice to see. I mean, that's an amazing facility that exists over there, and for that collaboration to be taking place, I often, talk about this beautiful working of government, academia, and industry, everybody collaborating together to make sure that rising tide floats all boats. COVE is a big part of that. There's no doubt about it. You're certainly making waves. Jerry, your thoughts?
I just think, listening to your background, I can't imagine COVE being in better hands. It's just a wonderful fit in my opinion. Keep doing what you're doing. It's a wonderful facility. I look forward to hearing more about what happens from COVE.
Melanie, what a great journey you've had, right? I mean, from the Yellowknife, you're out there doing flashing light and semaphore, you find your way around Canada, right back to Atlantic Canada, and adding so much to the conversation. So thanks very much for making waves.
Thank you very much.